Let's start with the first truth. If she never calls or texts you first, the worst thing you can do is chase harder. That's where most men go wrong. They assume silence is an invitation to prove themselves, when in reality, silence is often the clearest answer you'll ever get. You see, when you keep reaching out first, when you're always the one initiating, you blur the very signal her behavior is trying to send. You replace observation with obsession. And obsession never reveals the truth. It only blinds you to it. So instead of chasing, you need to observe, step back, not in anger, not in bitterness, but in awareness. Her actions will reveal what her words never will. Think about it. Anyone can say, I care. Anyone can play along with a few compliments. But effort cannot be faked consistently. If she values you, she will reach out even if it's in small ways. A simple, how's your day? A quick call to check in. Effort doesn't have to be grand, but it has to exist. When it doesn't, the absence is louder than any excuse she might offer. And here's where most people get trapped, because in the beginning, it's easy to mistake availability for affection. You tell yourself she's just busy, she's just distracted, she's just tired. But business doesn't stop anyone from making time for the people they truly want in their lives. It never has. You've seen it in your own behavior. No matter how busy you are, when you care, you make space, you adjust, you prioritize. So why do you excuse her lack of effort when you know deep down you wouldn't behave the same way towards someone you valued? Observation is uncomfortable because it forces you to accept reality without the cushioning of excuses. It requires patience, restraint, and above all, self-respect. It means saying to yourself, I will not send that message. I will not make that call. I will not remind her that I exist. Instead, you stand still and let her actions or her silence reveal her truth. And here's the beauty of this shift. The moment you stop chasing, you take back your power. You are no longer caught in the endless loop of giving without receiving, investing without return, waiting without reward. And something profound happens when you create that space. You gain clarity, but more than that, you gain control over your own emotional energy. Because let's be honest, every unanswered text, every ignored call, every day she doesn't initiate takes something from you. It chips away at your confidence, your sense of worth, your self-esteem. You begin to measure your value by her response or lack of it. That is the trap. And the only way to escape it is to remove yourself from the game altogether. But by stepping back, you protect your dignity. You remind yourself that your energy, your time, your presence, these are not free gifts to be thrown at someone who doesn't appreciate them. They are privileges, and only those who reciprocate, who meet you halfway, should have access to them. Because relationships are not built on one-sided pursuit. They're built on balance, on reciprocity, on mutual respect. So understand this. When she never initiates, it is not your job to close that gap. It is her responsibility to show effort if she truly values you. And if she doesn't, the silence you maintain will reveal her real intentions faster than any question you could ever ask. That silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the discipline of a man who knows his worth and refuses to hand it over to someone who won't even send a simple message. So the next time you find yourself staring at your phone, debating whether to text her again, stop. Pause. Remind yourself that silence is sometimes the most powerful message you can send. And remember this, if she never calls or texts you first, the answer has already been given. You just need the strength to accept it. Value is always measured by effort. That's true in every aspect of life, your career, your friendships, your family, and yes, your relationships. When someone values you, they show it through consistent actions, not occasional words. Words are cheap. They can be spoken casually, even carelessly. But effort requires intention. Effort requires sacrifice. Effort is proof. And in relationships, effort is the currency of value. Think about this for a moment. If you are always the one who calls, always the one who texts, always the one who makes the plan, then what exactly is she investing? Nothing. She gets your presence, your energy, your attention, but she doesn't put anything back into the exchange. And when there is no balance, there is no value, because something given too freely without any requirement of effort in return eventually loses its worth in the eyes of the receiver. This is human psychology. We value what we have to work for. We respect what we earn. It's the reason why when you save up for something and buy it with your own money, you treat it with more care than something handed to you for free. That same principle applies in relationships. If she never has to put in effort to keep your attention, she won't value it. Not because she's cruel, but because she's human. Now, many men fall into this trap unknowingly. They think if they just show enough effort, if they keep proving how much they care, she'll eventually recognize their worth and reciprocate. But what they don't realize is that over investing in someone who under invests only lowers their perceived value. It communicates desperation, not strength. And desperation is never attractive. Let me put it this way: love is not a performance where you do all the work while she sits in the audience and applauds occasionally. Love is a partnership. It's meant to be reciprocal. If she truly values you, she won't leave all the work on your shoulders. She will participate. She will engage. She will call first, sometimes not because she has to, but because she wants to, because in her mind, you are worth the effort. And this is where self-awareness becomes critical. You have to ask yourself, am I in a relationship where effort flows both ways, or am I carrying it all alone? Because if you are the only one trying, then you are not in a relationship, you are in a performance. And the more you perform without return, the more you diminish your own worth in her eyes and in your own. The truth is, a woman who values you will not make you question your place in her life. She will not let days, weeks, or months go by without reaching out. She will not stay silent and expect you to always bridge the gap. Her effort will show up in the small details, in the check-in text, in the willingness to make plans, in the simple act of showing consistency. And if that's missing, you need to stop making excuses for her absence and start recognizing the reality of her priorities. Now, this is not about playing games. It's not about withholding affection or testing her for the sake of control. It's about understanding a basic principle: effort is a reflection of value. If she values you, she will put effort in. If she doesn't, she won't. It really is that simple. And when you accept that truth, you stop begging for love and start demanding respect, because respect is the foundation of every healthy relationship. Without it, everything else crumbles. And respect is built on mutual effort. It cannot exist when one person carries the entire weight while the other simply benefits. So remember this: love without effort is not love, it's convenience. Attention without initiation is not care, it's tolerance. And a relationship without reciprocity is not a relationship, it's exploitation of your emotional energy. The next time you find yourself making excuses for her lack of effort, pause and ask, if I stopped trying today, would she even notice? If the answer is no, then you already have your truth. Don't fight it, accept it, because a woman who values you will never make you doubt it. There's something every man needs to understand, and it might sting at first, but it will set you free. Not every woman who entertains your presence is actually interested in you. Some are simply interested in what your attention does for them, and that's where the illusion of interest begins. You see, when she never calls or texts first but always responds when you reach out, it's easy to convince yourself she cares. She replies. She doesn't ignore you completely. Maybe she even gives you a compliment here and there. On the surface, it feels like a connection. But if you look closer, what you'll find is not genuine interest. It's validation. She isn't invested in you. She's invested in the feeling of being pursued. Your effort becomes her ego boost. And here's the dangerous part: this dynamic can drag on for months, sometimes years, without you realizing the truth. Because she never rejects you outright. She doesn't push you away completely. Instead, she gives you just enough breadcrumbs to keep you hoping, while never offering real commitment or effort in return. It's not love, it's not partnership, it's performance. And you are the actor playing the role of admirer, while she enjoys the applause. This is why you need to pay attention, not just to her responses, but to her initiation, because initiation reveals intention. If she never starts the conversation, if she never checks on you first, if she never makes the effort to maintain the connection, then what you're seeing is not interest, it's convenience. You are convenient when she's bored, when she wants attention, when she craves reassurance. But convenience is not commitment. Think of it this way: if you stopped reaching out today, what would happen? Would she come looking for you? Would she notice your absence? Or would she simply shift her attention to the next source of validation? The answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know. And this is where self-respect enters the picture, because the illusion of interest only works if you allow it to. It only survives if you keep supplying energy without demand for reciprocity. The moment you stop, the illusion crumbles. If she's genuinely interested, she will step forward to fill the gap. If she's not, she will disappear. Either way, you gain clarity. But too often, men fear this clarity. They'd rather live in the illusion than face the truth. They'd rather believe she's just busy than accept she's just not interested. But ask yourself, what's more painful, holding on to a lie for years or facing the truth today and freeing yourself to find someone who genuinely values you? The truth might hurt, but it also heals, because once you recognize the illusion, you stop feeding it. You stop overextending yourself for someone who only sees you as an option. You stop confusing her politeness for passion, her replies for real investment. And when you stop, you reclaim your energy, you reclaim your time, you reclaim your dignity. A woman who is genuinely interested will not leave you guessing. She will not rely on you to do all the work. She will not stay silent and let you shoulder the burden of connection. She will show effort. She will show initiative. She will demonstrate that you matter, not just when it's convenient for her, but because she genuinely cares. So don't confuse validation with affection. Don't confuse convenience with commitment. Don't confuse an illusion with reality. The illusion will keep you stuck in a cycle of hope and disappointment. Reality will free you to find a woman who values you, respects you, and meets you halfway. And remember this: if she never calls or texts first, her silence is not shyness, it's a signal. Don't let her illusion blind you, because the right woman won't need to be chased with endless effort. She will choose you openly and consistently. There's something most people don't realize about silence. It's not empty, it's not meaningless. Silence is communication in its purest form. When someone cares, silence rarely exists. When someone values you, silence is quickly broken by action. But when someone does not prioritize you, silence becomes the default. And in relationships, silence is not only absence, it's a test. When you stop reaching out, when you choose to hold back instead of constantly initiating, you create space. And in that space, her true intentions are revealed. This is where clarity begins. Because now, without your constant effort filling the void, she has only two options: either step forward or stay absent. And whichever she chooses, you finally see the truth without needing to argue, beg, or explain. This is why silence is powerful. It forces authenticity. Anyone can maintain the illusion of care when you're the one keeping the connection alive. But when you step back, the performance ends. If she respects you, she will feel the distance. She will notice your absence. She will reach out because she values the bond enough not to let it slip away. That's what respect looks like. It doesn't wait for you to constantly carry the weight. But if she doesn't respect you, silence will not bother her. She will accept it effortlessly. She won't chase. She won't check in. She won't try to close the gap. Why? Because in her mind, your absence does not cost her anything. And that realization, though painful, is liberating, because it frees you from illusions and forces you to see where you truly stand. Silence is also a mirror. It reflects your own self-worth back to you. Many men struggle with it because silence feels unbearable. They rush to break it, thinking they're losing something by waiting. But what they're really losing is the illusion of control. Because if you cannot endure silence, it means you are still dependent on her response to feel secure. That's not love, that's attachment. And attachment without reciprocity becomes self-destruction. So when you choose silence, you are not playing games, you are not punishing, you are simply creating a moment of truth. You are giving her the opportunity to prove whether she values you or not. And at the same time, you are proving something to yourself, that you respect your own boundaries, that you are capable of patience, that you are willing to face reality, even if it hurts. Psychologically, this is essential, because the moment you stop over-giving, you break the cycle of dependency. You remind yourself that your worth is not tied to her responses. You learn that your peace cannot be held hostage by whether or not she sends a text. Silence becomes your teacher. It teaches you restraint. It teaches you dignity. And most importantly, it teaches you that the right connection will never require you to beg for attention. And there is another truth here. People reveal their priorities through absence just as much as through presence. If she can let days or weeks go by without initiating, it's because in her hierarchy of values, you are not high on the list. And the sooner you see that, the sooner you can stop wasting your energy on someone who doesn't truly see your worth. Silence, then, is not weakness, it's wisdom. It is the decision to step back and let the truth emerge naturally. It is the refusal to keep investing in a connection that only survives through your effort. It is the courage to face the possibility that she may never chase you, because that realization frees you to find someone who will. So the next time you find yourself tempted to break the silence just to feel reassured, pause and remember this. Silence is not empty space, it's the stage where truth reveals itself. And if her silence tells you she doesn't care, believe it. Because a woman who respects you will never let the silence stretch too long. She will break it with effort, with initiative, with presence. Every time you find yourself staring at your phone, waiting for her to call, hoping she will finally send that first message, something subtle but powerful is happening. You are training yourself to accept less than you deserve. Every unanswered expectation chips away at your sense of worth. It doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, quiet, almost invisible. But over time, it reshapes how you see yourself. And that is dangerous, because once your self-worth begins to erode, you start settling for things you would have never tolerated before. This is where boundaries come in. Boundaries are not about controlling someone else. They are about protecting yourself. They are the lines you draw that say, this is what I will accept, and this is what I will not. And without boundaries, you will always end up giving more than you should, investing in people who don't value you, and waiting on responses that never come. You see, respect doesn't begin with others, it begins with you. When you respect yourself, you don't tolerate neglect. When you respect yourself, you don't chase someone who never reciprocates. And when you respect yourself, you don't keep proving your worth to someone who refuses to see it. Boundaries are the physical expression of self-respect. They are the invisible shield that prevents you from handing your energy to people who only drain it. Most men confuse persistence with strength. They believe if they just keep trying, keep calling, keep texting, eventually she will see their value. But in reality, that persistence without boundaries communicates the opposite. It tells her you will accept anything, even neglect, just to keep her in your life. And when you show someone you're willing to accept neglect, they lose respect for you. Respect is always tied to standards. If you have no standards, you invite disrespect. Think about this: the simple act of saying, I will not chase someone who never reaches out is not cruelty, it's clarity. It's saying to yourself, my time and energy are valuable, and I refuse to waste them where they are not appreciated. That boundary shifts everything, because when you enforce it, you begin to move differently. You stop waiting for messages that never come. You stop begging for effort that never arrives. You stop handing out your presence like it has no cost. And the irony is, when you set boundaries, two things happen. Either she steps up, realizing you will not tolerate being taken for granted, or she disappears, revealing that she never valued you in the first place. Either way, you win, because boundaries don't push the right people away. They push the wrong people out. Psychologically, boundaries are an act of self-preservation. They keep you grounded in your worth, reminding you that love is not supposed to make you feel small. And philosophically, they are an act of self-ownership. They say, I am in charge of my energy. I decide who has access to me. That mindset is powerful because it shifts you from dependency to autonomy. Instead of asking, why doesn't she call me? You begin to ask, why am I giving so much to someone who doesn't? That's the real transformation. When you live without boundaries, you operate out of fear. The fear of losing her, the fear of being alone, the fear of not being enough. But when you establish boundaries, you operate out of strength, the strength to walk away from disrespect, the strength to demand reciprocity, the strength to honor yourself. And that shift changes the way you see every relationship moving forward. So understand this. Every time you wait by the phone, hoping she will finally put in effort, you're making a choice. You're choosing her neglect over your own dignity. And dignity is too high a price to pay for someone who can't even send a simple message. The truth is, boundaries are not about her. They're about you. They are a statement of who you are, what you deserve, and what you refuse to tolerate. And the moment you enforce them, you send a clear message to the world. I know my worth and I will not settle for less. There comes a point where you have to ask yourself a simple but life-changing question. Why am I giving all of my attention to someone who gives me none of theirs? Why am I fighting for space in the life of someone who doesn't even think twice about making space for me? That's when you realize the problem is not her silence. The problem is your focus. You've been so consumed by the one who doesn't choose you that you've blinded yourself to the people who actually would. You see, The greatest mistake people make in relationships is assuming that love is about convincing someone of your worth. It's not. Love is not a debate. It's not a presentation where you keep bringing evidence of why you deserve to be chosen. Love is recognition. It's when someone sees you clearly, values you without conditions, and chooses you willingly. If you have to force it, it's not love, it's labor. And this is why you need to shift your energy. The moment you stop obsessing over the one who never calls, never texts, never shows up, you create space for the one who will. Because let's be honest, how can the right woman enter your life if you're still occupied with someone who doesn't even care to check if you're okay? Your emotional energy is not infinite. The more you waste it on the wrong person, the less you have left for the right one. Think of it like this. Imagine you're holding a closed fist around something worthless, a stone, a piece of trash, something with no real value. Your hand is clenched so tightly, you don't even realize what it's costing you. Because as long as your fist is closed, you can't receive anything new. You can't hold something valuable because your grip is still locked on what is useless. That's what happens when you keep chasing someone who doesn't choose you. You lock yourself into emptiness and you shut yourself off from the possibility of fullness. And here's where perspective becomes everything. When a woman doesn't call or text you first, you can either see it as rejection or you can see it as redirection. Her absence is redirecting you towards something better. Her silence is creating space for someone else's presence. The only question is, are you willing to let go of what doesn't value you so you can receive what does? Philosophically, this is the essence of growth. Life doesn't reward those who cling to what's dead. It rewards those who have the courage to release it. Every time you let go of someone who doesn't choose you, you step closer to the one who will. And when you finally meet her, you'll realize something profound. You never had to beg for attention because real attention was always willing to find you. You never had to chase love because real love was always ready to walk beside you. So stop waiting for her to prove you matter. If she hasn't done it by now, she's not going to. Stop giving energy to someone who treats your presence as optional. And stop telling yourself that one day she'll change because people don't change out of convenience. They change out of conviction. If she had conviction about you, you'd already know. The truth is love is not complicated. It's only complicated when you're trying to make it work with the wrong person. The right woman won't keep you waiting. She won't keep you questioning. She won't keep you chasing. She will meet you with the same effort, the same respect, the same consistency that you offer. That is what real partnership looks like. So the next time you find yourself wondering why she never calls, why she never texts, why she never reaches out, stop asking why. Stop analyzing, stop hoping, stop waiting. Instead, shift your focus. Because somewhere out there is a woman who will never let you feel like you're not enough. A woman who will never make you beg for attention. A woman who will never let silence define the connection. And you owe it to yourself to leave space for her. So remember this, the wrong one will drain you, but the right one will choose you. Always